Welcome back. This is Chapter 1, Section 3, Physical and Chemical Properties. Let's start with physical properties. Now, a physical property is the property of the substance in and of itself. How does the substance behave as the substance? So it might involve changing to a different form of the substance, solid to liquid, liquid to gas, something like that, but never changing to a different substance. So when you study the physical properties of water, then you're looking at it as water. You won't be changing it to anything else, not to hydrogen and oxygen, okay? Just what sort of things does water do as water? So at the beginning of physical changes, physical properties, and the end of physical changes, physical properties, the substance is still the substance. It might look different, it might even behave a little different, but it's still the same substance. Liquid water, solid water, different forms, still both water. Same chemical formula. So different examples of physical property involve the melting point, the color, the mass, the temperature, the electrical conductivity. What other kinds of substances can dissolve in that substance? So the fact that table salt, sodium chloride, dissolves in water is a physical property of water. Because you dissolve salt in water, you still have water present. So a physical change, you're changing the substance, but you're not changing to a different substance. Changing shape, changing phase, breaking a substance into multiple pieces, combining different pieces of the same substance together. Physical change will mean a change in some physical properties, but no change in substance. That's something I'm really trying to hammer home here. You take a piece of iron, you break it up into several chunks, you still have iron. And finally, we make a distinction between extensive and intensive physical properties. Extensive property depends on the extent of the substance, how much of the substance is present, whereas an intensive property is independent of the amount of substance present. Okay, so think about it. Water is always wet, whether you have a very small amount of water or a very large amount of water. That is an intensive physical property of water. But water can be heavy or light. A very small amount of water is easy to carry in one hand. A very large amount of water, and you have to get help carrying it up the stairs. That's an extensive property. Depends on the extent, how much is present. So extensive properties would be things like mass and volume. Intensive properties, that would be something like temperature, density, or boiling point. Those are things that don't change if you have a large amount versus a small amount of the substance. You can have a small amount of cold water, you can have a large amount of cold water. You can have a small amount of water with a density of 1 gram per mil. You can have a large amount of water with a density of 1 gram per mil. But a small amount of water is going to have a small amount of mass. A large amount of water will have a large amount of mass. So those are physical properties, the properties of the substance as the substance, and the distinction between extensive and intensive physical properties. See you next time.